What are some things you changed your mind on from when you first started initially, or like some initial things where you're like, oh, we have to do this, or like, insert example here. I don't want to throw them on you yet, but like, what are some things that you change your mind on, and what do you do now?
I think the biggest one is training volume. And I actually made a video about that yesterday because I changed my mind massively on how much volume is needed for the average person, like probably the end of last year. So when I came into training, I was doing all the programs and stuff, it was like I started with like Steve Cook and fitness culture and all that sort of stuff. So like 4 to 6 sets of everything, wave loading, all this sort of shit, which was super fun. But it was like
so long,
2-hour workouts, bro.
6 sets. Sorry to jump in, but wave loading, I actually really loved it.
Me too.
Like 5-3-2, whatever.
Yeah.
But man, it took ages.
Dude, and I was so beat up.
6 sets.
My lower back, bro. Like my poor lower back, dude. I could see like both the light and the trauma in your eyes when I mentioned wave loading, because that's what everybody sees. But dude, it was like that, and it was the kind of like periodization of programming and everything, where everything had to be super like periodized into the next phase, and you got accumulation phases, intensification phases, and almost this very like performance sport, like I guess like mentality towards programming. And I was kind of giving that to all my clients. So I remember coming in at 5 a.m. My poor fucking like PT clients. Damien Barnes, I'm so sorry. I remember coming in at 5:30 a.m. and making him do like a skewed pyramid thing on bench press and stuff, and being like, no, you have to strictly adhere to the 4-second eccentric because previously we were doing 3 and we got to, you know, I'm like, Damien, if you're listening, I'm so sorry. But yeah, like the end of last year, like I realized I wasn't enjoying training anywhere near as much as I was before. And part of that came from being so much more focused on my business and more clients and being busier, which was super exciting, but super anxiety inducing at the same time. I didn't want to be spending 3 hours in the gym every afternoon. And so I was like, okay, well, everyone's talking about this whole low volume approach, which obviously things go cyclically in the fitness industry. Like this has been around since like the 80s, like Mensa and shit, you know, like it's just kind of changed a little bit as you go. And everybody was saying like 2 sets, just 2 really hard sets, like 6 to 10 reps, push yourself as close to failure as you can. I train in a gym that's super well stocked with equipment. So, you know, for me, I can do a lot of machine weights, which make it easier to push to failure. And I was like, cool, I'm going to try this. So I was like, wrote myself up a new upper lower split, because that was like the optimal split that everyone's obsessed with now. And I'm like, guys, this has been around for fucking decades. This is nothing revolutionary. Come on, it's upper lower. Wrote myself up a new split, basically like 6-7 exercises, 2 super hard sets of everything. And it didn't exactly like reinvigorate my passion for training immediately, but straight away I was like, oh my God, I'm seeing better results because I'm pushing harder. I'm more focused. My sessions are shorter. I don't feel like I'm having to load myself up with carbs and caffeine as much before I train. So I'm not feeling as sluggish when I get halfway through. I'm not coming out of a leg day and being absolutely fucked by the time I get home to do more check-ins and being like, hey man, great week for my afternoon check-ins. So I was like, oh, this really works well. And then I sort of started applying it more and more and more to clients too, like 2-3 sets max for everything, and just really educating them more on intensity and pushing harder. Like I'd done a lot of this beforehand, but I'd been very reticent to take a lot of my online clients into like 4 to 6 reps or whatever, because I was like, I don't get injured with a lot of the lifts. Like I've always liked programming barbell lifts too, so bigger exercises and stuff. So I was a little bit hesitant to do that, but I was like, fuck, like let's do more of it. Because then clients started seeing better results, like started learning a little bit more about how low volume can be super beneficial in like dieting phases and stuff as well. So for me, I think the training volume thing has been a really big one that I've kind of changed my mind on, simply because it's not like I see high volume as being bad or anything like that, because I think for beginners they need super high volume because
they need the practice.
Yeah, they suck at training at the end of the day, like, you know, and they need to get better. Yeah, they're uncoordinated, they don't know how to train to failure. Yeah, they do 10 reps on a leg extension, and then you go, okay, gun to your head, we're gonna keep going, and they do 40, and you're like, oh, it was hard, was it? That was hard. Come on, push a little bit harder. You know, so I definitely think high volume still has a place, but I think low volume, if you're trying to maximize muscle gain, super exciting, super important, super fun. And I think too, with that kind of like really reframed how I structure programming as well. Because I used to be very much a big proponent of have your compound lift focus on the day, and then you move into your isolation accessories and they kind of build off that and all that sort of stuff. Because again, it was this almost like I learned a lot from Mark. It was a lot of that Poliquin style programming, which I still find really fun. Like I really enjoy programming it. I really enjoy training it, but like I just don't have the time now really for my own training. But like I sort of realized like there's actually no right or wrong way to do a lot of this stuff. It just has to make sense in the concept of what it is you're doing. So started playing around with different programming methods and kind of like, to the point of being like, oh, how does movement actually like play into this? Like I did the pre-scripts courses at the start of last year and stuff, learning more about like muscle mechanics and all that sort of thing, and kind of like being like, well, just because you want to get good at a pull-up doesn't mean you have to start the session with a pull-up. You can do rows and scapular movement and stuff first, and then you can kind of get blood in your back, and then your pull-ups actually feel better, sort of thing, and not just having this super like straightforward way of like focus lift goes first and all that sort of stuff. So I think the last 2 years it's just been like a lot of challenging what I previously thought I knew, because I'd learned such a specific way of programming and sort of not gone outside of that really, and not looked at different ways of doing things. And now it's like, being able to hide mobility work in clients' programs a lot more effectively, and being able to kind of have almost this whole like holistic style to programming where people can get jacked, they can get strong, they can move really well, they can do it in a shorter time. Like it's kind of really helped with my clients and stuff as well. So I think that's the biggest thing, like training wise, that I've changed my mind on. I think a lot of, you probably find this yourself, like a lot of it isn't necessarily changing your mind so much, it's taking things and adding them into what you already do, and kind of being like, cool, I've got this way that I do stuff that works really well, but what if I added a bit of that in? What if I just changed that? What if I just did this? It's like people almost kind of like want this big reframe all the time, whereas like I just find it's kind of like you've got your shit that works, and then you added more shit that works, and now you got double the shit that works. Yeah, exactly, right? Like,
yeah, I found a similar thing, because I'd say I've kind of moved to low volume, not by choice, but by circumstance. Yeah. So having 2 younger children has been, and I'm not blaming like, oh, it's my kids' fault.
Damn kids, bro.
Like, that's why I'm not jacked.
I just want the gains, man. Fuck.
It's my kids' fault, I tell you. Don't do it. So I guess I just have less time, and probably like on the back of that, less sleep, less kind of bandwidth, and same thing with you in business. I'm kind of very that focused, and then I would, like when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, and I wouldn't want my clients to look at it like this, but I do. If it comes down to like business or training, I'll just do my business work, and I'll be like, I'll train at some other time. Yeah. Because I don't really see it as like I have to do it, or I'm gonna, I don't know, somehow just like gain all this weight or become unhealthy or become unfit.
You have the routines and the habits and stuff in place, right?
Yeah,
so it's like
and I enjoy it.
You can fall back on that, and then you'll make time for the training at some point. Whereas it might be that a client of yours, if you encourage them to think about training later, you just know they're not going to do it.
It'll be like one session a fortnight type of thing for them.
Exactly.
And so I've kind of fallen, like the last probably 2 or 3 months has probably been the worst stint of my training. The last 2 weeks have been okay, but I probably trained like once or twice a week, and I really didn't like, I was like, I think it's just because my workouts were too massive, and I'd look at it and go, nah. And I was cutting off sets anyway. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing these programs, but in my head I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm doing 2 sets or 1 set sometimes. Yeah. So now I've just like written a low volume program like yourself, and I'm like actually excited to train, and I feel stronger, probably because I'm less fatigued, and maybe I'm more excited to actually train. So I'm like, oh, I've only got 2 sets of low bar back squat. That's nothing. Yeah. Like I'll just couple of warm-up sets, or maybe a bit more, because now I can actually give more to these sets. And I've actually found strength better, maybe not body composition wise, because I'm probably like moving a bit less in terms of like training and all that kind of stuff, but I don't really care about that too much at the moment. But I think just having like, a different kind of approach to it makes it so much more exciting. Like I'm just like, I want to train.
It's refreshed enthusiasm, right?
Yeah. I was skipping, like I told you, like, so my work desk is right here. I would just look at my training program, and then I'd just like flip my phone down and just start working, because I was like, I was just like, I'm not
set check-in.
Well, sometimes I just wouldn't do a set, and I would just like be like, I'm just not training today. And that's why I was training once or twice a week, because I was just like, I'm just going to train. So I'm with you on the low volume approach, and like I haven't seen any negative. If anything, it's probably positive, because the output of the sets is like much better. I can feel like I can really push.
100%.
So in terms of things that you may have changed, what about nutrition? We've kind of touched on the eating disorder type of thing, but
the excessive stuff.
The kind of deep stuff. But what about like, I don't know, calorie or macros or food selection or anything? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
I think I've just done a lot bigger of a focus on gut health. the last couple of years, especially the last sort of 18 months. I think I credit a friend of mine, Dave Marsh, for this, because I was never really hugely into like the thinking about the relationship between like the gut and the brain and all that sort of stuff, and kind of actually how your gut health influences how you feel on a day-to-day basis. For me, it was basically like, what's the texture of my shit like? Is it acceptable? Cool. You know what I mean? Sorry to be vulgar, but like, that's all right. It's like, but I'm someone who struggles really bad with anxiety and stuff. And I was kind of like, I sort of started to do a deep dive last year. I was like, actually, I think I've like practically ruined my gut health. Lots of sweeteners and stuff, which again, none of these things are bad. I need to stress that. Like, none of these things are bad. It was just that I was overdoing the consumption of them and my gut health was a bit off. So lots of sweeteners, relying on protein bars and protein shakes all the time. I wasn't eating anywhere near enough whole foods. Probably fiber intake was not anywhere near as good as it could be. I'd eat like a bowl of oats in the morning and that was good enough for me, sort of thing. I was also doing a lot of like powder supplements and stuff because I could like blend them into like a shake or whatever. So again, it was then, so you can taste it. And then also like that's just whey protein with water and stuff. So again, it was like, a lot of my, I felt like I was very bloated, very distended. I felt like I wasn't digesting food well. I felt very puffy. Everybody uses the word inflamed all the time, but like I felt inflamed. Like my face was like fucking like round and stuff.
Yeah, you can see that. Like it kind of looks like you're tired.
Yes, yeah. You got bags under your eyes.
Yeah, like I just woke up, I had a good sleep.
And shit. Like, and again, save like coffee wise and stuff. Like I was drinking probably, I don't think it was quite as bad as like peak PT days, but I was probably doing like 10 to 12 shots of coffee a day, like, and then also like energy drinks and stuff like that and everything. So so it was like my gut health was just not good at all. I wasn't regular going to the bathroom or anything. And when I was, it was like texture was all off. Like, so I started really focusing more on my gut health and kind of consuming more whole foods, the importance of meal timings, not in the sense that everybody looks at, like kind of when's the best time to eat for fat loss and stuff, but like just consistent meal times, being like routinizing when I eat. So waking up in the morning and finding that for me, if I ate super early, I just feel really sluggish. So I would have water and I would have my supplements, like my vitamins, fish oils, all that sort of stuff. I'd have a coffee about an hour after I woke up because then I'd feel awake enough for it to kind of feel good. And then I'd be all right without food for like 2 or 3 hours. So I was like, oh, cool. Okay, well, that works well. Nice. Then I'd like have my first meal and I'd focus on like, okay, I'm going to have proper sourdough bread that's a little bit more expensive rather than getting just the regular sliced bread because this digests better. And I'm going to have eggs and I'm going to have salmon, I'm going to have avocado, or I'm going to have oats and fruit, and I'm going to have like vegan protein powder instead of whey protein powder. And all of a sudden I found like first meal, go to the bathroom more regularly, like didn't feel bloated in the mornings, didn't feel like I was kind of lethargic and stuff. I was like, okay, cool. Well, that's makes sense. Whole foods, all that sort of stuff. And then just throughout the day being like, okay, I'm going to make little tweaks here. So I'd still have a protein shake post-workout, but I'd let myself come back into a rest and digest state before having it. I wouldn't kind of like slam it down and then try and film content. I would chill out a little bit, ideate my content, film my content, take my time, and then I'd start sipping on the shake and taking my time with it. I'd start sitting down more for meals rather than eating on the go all the time. I'd like get my sleep in order a little bit more. Every night, like for the last probably 12 months, I've had what I call like unless I've been traveling or whatever, or like out for dinner with friends, I have my FOSB, which is my fuck off salad bowl, which is just a massive bowl of greens, like beetroot, pineapple, avocado, like something fermented like sauerkraut or something.
Yeah, nice.
And then some form of lean meat in there, with then some form of carb source, like could be rice, could be pasta, could be whatever it is on the side. Like I like a big evening meal, always have done. And then I just find like that switch to more whole foods and less kind of just, again, I think I was just getting into that complacency of like, well, I've got my calories and macros. I just hit them however I hit them, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So now being a bit more intentional with that stuff. And it's meant too that when I go out and I eat, like some people go the other way where they then go out and eat off their usual plan and they kind of find that sets their gut off. I've actually been a lot better at digesting. If I got like, I love ramen. Ramen's one of my favorite foods. So
I'm kind of thinking of getting into it. There's a spot down the road. There's like orange doors. Anyway, it's like got a big line. Have you been there before?
No, I haven't been to that one. But
anyway,
have to look
apparently it's really busy. Yeah,
I have to add it to the list.
Okay, right. Yeah, I've seen a few things. It looks pretty good. I haven't dived into the ramen world.
It's so good. It's so good. If you like Asian food, like it is fucking great. When I was in Japan earlier this year, me and Musti, we ate so much ramen. Oh my god. But like I find like I don't wake up, like I'll be a bit bloated because it's very high in sodium and stuff, but like I don't feel I wake up the next day and my stomach's off or anything. Like I feel pretty good. I can still just kind of keep going kind of thing, because I've got this kind of routine set up where I'm a lot more focused on my food quality, and I've tried to buy better quality meats and stuff like that. I'm not doing the whole raw milk fucking, endangering my life thing. Yeah,
not yet. You're on the path.
Just call me Dr. Jack Saladino. But like the gut health focus has been huge, and I found anecdotally, body composition wise, without really trying, I've been so much leaner the last year. And that's not really been a focus for me. Like for me, I'm like, if I'm at a body composition where I feel good, I'm happy. I don't need to be dick skin lean and stuff. But I've been eating more food while feeling like I'm leaner, and it's probably just lack of inflammation and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like maybe you're less bloated, less inflamed.
100% I am. 100%. Like I'm less. And this all came because last year, like this is the big switch on this, came last year in October. I went up for one of my clients competed in the, what was the last WBFF show before it became
before
FMG.
They changed.
Yeah, and she competed in the Gold Coast. I came back, and the day I got back to Sydney, I slept for like 32 hours straight because I basically passed out with this food baby. I don't even know what caused it, but I had the worst gut distension and just like horrific pain. Like there was no gas, no going to the toilet, none of that sort of stuff. It was just this horrific distension. Still don't know what caused it other than probably just stress. And straight away I was like, okay, I need to look into this more. I was like, that's been like building a little bit. I was like, I've been getting some cramps and stuff over the last couple of months, but that just like for me was like, okay, I'm not paying attention enough to this. I need to focus more on that and stress management and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think that's been the biggest thing, is like trying not to be excessive with it or anything, but it's like I've just been eating more whole foods, which funnily enough has made a positive change. Yeah.
I'm actually on a similar trajectory, not necessarily by choice. So I get migraines that are pretty intense. I have ever since I was a kid. Like it used to be a bit more intense. Like I lose my vision for like a little bit. Like I start to see stars, and then like I'll be looking at you, but I can only really like see your eye, like one eye, and then it's like just stars everywhere. I get that for a bit, and then my sight comes back, and then the headache comes, and then I usually spew, and then I'm good. Yeah. But then my head feels really sore. Like the only way to explain is like my brain is in like my skull or cranium or whatever it is, and then it's like swishing around and hitting. Like if I turn my head quick. And I've been trying to, like, I keep a migraine diary, and I'm like trying to think, like I'm looking at barometric pressure of the days that I get it, like, because sometimes weather, like when weather's really kind of like overcast and it feels like it's hot, like that throws me off too. Okay. But anyway, some artificial sweeteners are kind of linked towards migraines.
I have seen some of this research. Actually.
Yeah. So I was looking at, and I was like, maybe I'm just gonna, because I love White Monsters. I love any Monsters, really. And I used to like the sugar-free energy drinks and Pepsi Maxes and things like that. So I've cut that out for probably a year and a bit.
Yep.
And my migraine frequency has dropped massively. Yeah, so I've dropped the desire to have any of that. I just have like water and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And my wife went on a really big gut journey a couple of years ago, and she actually worked with Jake.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And went through this whole kind of process of antimicrobials and worked through all these kind of processes, and I just picked up things as I go. And now I have the like $20 a loaf sourdough. That's dude. It's just like 3 ingredients. This one from Harris Farms. I don't know how much it is, but my wife gets it for me. But I eat that, feel better. I'm not having the artificial sweeteners. I'm taking supplements and stuff like that. More so for migraine prevention. There's a couple of supplements that are really good for it. And I'm having fermented foods and all of that kind of stuff as well. And I feel so much better. Yeah. And it was something that I never realized too, because once again, I was like, macros. It's just about macros. Macros and calories. Yeah. You know, I'll have whatever I want when I want. You know, I'd have White Monsters at any time of the day as well. And coffees are unlimited. They're still kind of unlimited at the moment. But the sugar-free drinks and all that kind of stuff. And I feel noticeably different. I wouldn't say I've experienced body composition differences. I don't think I ever had the like crazy inflamed feeling. Yeah. But I definitely feel a difference. And I feel like this is becoming a bit more of a popular conversation of like, okay, calories and macros, we've got that sorted. What next? And I feel like this is where you can keep kind of making progress to improve your health.
For sure. And I think that's the thing, man, right? It's like, I think the message kind of just got popularized because of body composition. And in body composition terms, it is calories. You know, at the end of the day, it's like eat less calories than you burn. Make sure you get enough protein. You will get lean and you will retain muscle. Cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, but it is that thing of like obviously like food companies don't help now that they're throwing protein into everything and all that sort of stuff as well. Like, and it's just kind of protein. Like
So everyone's just like, guys, I just need to hit protein. That's all that matters.
It's like, guys, fiber is pretty fucking important too. If you can do anything, hit your fucking fiber intake.
Yeah.
You know, and that was a big wake up call for me a couple of years ago with fiber, was kind of learning more about that. I was like, cool. But now, like, making sure that I'm getting, and it's funny because so much of like the basic shit that you learn, even just as a kid with the food pyramid, it's like, yeah, you probably should do that. You probably should have multiple serves of fruits and veggies a day. You probably should try and avoid having too much like processed food, you know, and it's like, it's not saying, again, I think the problem is, again, it's like two extremes, right? It's this stuff is really fucking bad for you, or it's eat as much of this stuff as you want, it's okay. When the truth is, it's in the middle. It's always the poison is in the dosage. And it's always just kind of like, everybody's going to be a little bit different. For me, I eat decent amount of red meat. I don't feel rough. I don't have any issues, right? My roommate, he eats a lot of red meat. He starts getting gut health issues. He can't digest it quite as easily. You know? And it's like, why? We both eat the same steaks. Why? It's just differences in different humans and what you're kind of used to and all that sort of stuff. It's like things like seafood and all that sort of stuff. You know, some people get in danger of mercury poisoning a lot quicker than other people and all that sort of stuff. It's like everyone's different. It's kind of finding what works for you to feel good. But I also think people are kind of losing the ability to tap into themselves, check in with themselves and see what actually feels good. It's like you're just getting a new standard. And that was kind of me last year, I was like, well, this is just how I feel, which is tired, groggy, bloated, all that sort of stuff. I was like, must just be normal. Just be normal. But it wasn't normal, you know, and it's now I'm still a super stressed guy. But like at the same time, my gut health's so much better because my dietary choices have been better and that routine around food has been better and you know, sleep has been better as well, which has helped. But yeah, man, so many of these things, even coffee, like I did a caffeine detox. Like, fuck, I hate the word detox, but like, I guess that's what it is. But like, I did that about 6 months ago. I realized I was drinking way too much coffee. My sleep sucked. So what I did was I went straight down to 1 coffee a day.
Okay.
For a month.
From like 5.
From a lot.
So
that's probably, So I was having like I think I was probably having like 600 to 700 milligrams of caffeine a day. Right. Like a white Monster, for anyone listening, has 160 milligrams. And then like generally, I think a cold brew coffee is usually about 160 or something like that as well.
Right.
So when you think about it, it would probably have been like...
That's probably where I'm at the moment.
Yeah, there you go. And that's 4 to 5 like strong caffeinated drinks, right?
Yeah.
I went from that down to having 1 coffee, and I made sure that it was literally just like a flat white. I was like, I'm just going to have a flat white for the taste of coffee more than anything.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of like placebo affecting myself throughout the rest of the day by having decaf, which I think is like 5 milligrams. It's like completely inconsequential.
Yeah, I do that too.
Dude, you just get the taste and then your brain's like, because even the tea I was having, I have a lot of black tea with caffeine in it and stuff as well. Or like I was drinking Coke Zero, which has caffeine in it as well.
But
so
you don't count that when you're on the coffees and
exactly. You just don't think about it sort of thing. So I went right down to 1 like coffee a day for like a month. And then I actually had I only went like a week where I did no caffeine, so no coffee, no Pepsi Max, no Coke Zero, no decaf coffee, none of that sort of stuff. It was just water, and then if I was having like a 0-calorie drink, it was like Sprite or Solo or something like that, like one of those a day. And then I just kind of went back to, okay, cool, 1 coffee and see how I feel. And straight away, like that 1 coffee would hit me harder. It felt a lot better. And now it's kind of like, you know, I'm generally pretty good. Like I can get away with kind of doing 1 cold brew and 1 regular coffee a day most days. You know, and that's generally spread apart. I try and leave them about sort of 4 or 5 hours apart as well. So I'll have a coffee quite early, like 6, 7 a.m. And then I'll have another one kind of 11 a.m. before I go and train and film. And my kind of thought process is at least that I'm using the caffeine for something productive as well, right? But even that's just made such a difference to my guts. Like, you know, so all those sorts of things can be super helpful. But I think that's the biggest one that I've really gone with is just gut health.